Welcome back. House GOP leaders working to build support for a floor vote next week on the Senate budget blueprint to fund immigration enforcement and Customs and Border Protection. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise meeting with Budget Chairman Jody Arrington and top Republicans yesterday to ease concerns over their wishes of an expanding bill. Several lawmakers have broken news on the program, telling us the Speaker's intention is to do a third reconciliation before the midterms for other priorities, but this upcoming one will be slim. Joining me now is Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty, a member of the Senate Appropriations Committee. Senator, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria.
So the president told me last week that it is going to be a slim reconciliation plan. So where will the money for defense go? Are you expecting to have any money in this plan, or will that potentially happen if, in fact, you were to get an opportunity at another reconciliation plan before the midterms?
Well, the third reconciliation process that Speaker Johnson talked about, we've also been discussing in the Senate as well. That is probably the most prime opportunity, and I think Lindsey Graham, our budget chairman, is working apace at that right now. We also have the National Defense Authorization Bill coming up. Both of those will be opportunities to address this. But I just remind our viewers of this, Maria. We're going through this process right now to fund the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security that the Democrats have shut down now. They've shut down this department, the department charged with protecting us, the counterterrorism department, at a time when we're dealing with the world's largest state sponsor of terror. It's incredibly irresponsible that the Democrats have put us in this position. They basically are against law enforcement. Chuck Schumer says he doesn't respect them, I'm sure. But our law enforcement are absolutely critical at a time when the Biden administration encountered 1,500 Iranians, that's the polite word they use, 1,500 Iranians from 2021 to 2024. They released half of them into the country. We need to be very responsible at this point in time, and the recklessness of the Democrats have brought us to this point. It's their shutdown, their willingness to basically open us and expose us to terrorism that is really hard to believe. We're going to address it very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible to me, too. I mean, the fact that we're in the middle of a war and we don't have the Department of Homeland Security open, and you have to use your opportunity at a reconciliation to actually fund something that should be open. What do you want to say about what the backdrop looks like now going into the midterms? I mean, you've got to get this department open. You've got to get this war ended so that oil prices come down. Increasingly, voters are asking and viewers are asking what President Trump's agenda looks like after the midterm elections if, in fact, the Democrats do take seats. There's, there's a lot of questions on whether or not the Democrats take the majority in the House, and now there's also talk of an increasing the Senate could tip. What are your expectations? And if the Democrats are in charge, does the agenda take a hit?
Well, Maria, President Trump has done an outstanding job using executive orders to bring our country back to the most competitive place it possibly could be. Also, the reconciliation package that we passed last year, the Working Families Tax Cut Act, some call it the Big Beautiful Bill, that put in place more incentives for capital investment than we have seen in our careers. So we've got a great momentum, great economic momentum right now. President Trump is dealing with the world's largest sponsor of terror. I think that's going to happen post-haste. Time, as he said, is on our side here. The Iranians are running out of options immediately. They're running out of storage capacity for their oil. If they have to cap their wells, if they have to stop production, it's going to create massive damage. Again, time is running out. They need to take the off-ramp. If we do wind up in a situation, and you know it's going to be close, I think the races for the House and for the Senate are going to be very intense. The Democrats have decided that resistance, that favoring crime over law enforcement seems to be their play. I don't think the American public are going to buy that. I think the economy is going to be moving in the right direction. So I'm optimistic that we won't have a problem in the midterms, but we're going to fight hard. If something were to happen, the Democrats have indicated that they're going to resist at every turn. They're going to try to bring the government to a grinding halt. They've already demonstrated that with the shutdown last fall, what they're doing with Homeland Security. I do not think we'll lose the Senate. We'll be able to maintain the fight, but they'll make it certainly a lot more difficult for the American public.
Yeah, I mean, certainly what you saw in Virginia the other day, joining California with the passage of that ballot initiatives to redraw the congressional map following the Texas move last year is a question. Now we're waiting on Florida. The only unknown should Governor DeSantis call a special session on this. Your reaction to what happened in Virginia?
Well, I think the Democrats have demonstrated that they can't win the hearts and minds of the American public, so they're going to try to change the rules. And this is exactly the playbook that they've deployed in the past. If you think about some of the states where Democrats can win, there are states where there's no voter ID, where they've got very, very loose rules. That's what the Democrats seem to want everywhere. They're trying to change the rules now for the allocation of congressional seats and districts. You also think about this. The Democrats are the ones that voted 100%. Every single Democrat voted to continue counting illegals in the process of allocating congressional districts and electoral votes. They've flooded the border. They've brought all of these millions of illegals into the country. They go to these sanctuary cities, and now they want to count them. They've all voted to do just that, to count them in the allocation of seats and districts. So the Democrats' playbook is to change the rules, to break the rules, to certainly go well against the intent of the Founding Fathers.
Senator, let me move on to Kevin Warsh facing tough questions on Capitol Hill. Senators pressing him on his financial disclosures, the independence of the Federal Reserve. We know that the chairman nominee appeared before your committee, and it was successful, but we still are wondering on a vote. Is the vote still on pause until the Jay Powell investigation is dismissed?
Well, I'd say, as you mentioned, Kevin Warsh delivered a textbook performance. He is absolutely the man for the job at this moment. I think everybody saw that on full display when he appeared before the Banking Committee. And I would also remind our viewers of this, Maria. Every person sitting on that Banking Committee, whether they be Republican or Democrat, can vote to move Kevin Warsh forward. Every Democrat there, many of them have already voted for Kevin Warsh when he was up for Fed governor in the past. They have their opportunity to support this. I've spoken with Senator Tillis. We've all heard his remarks. I've spoken with Senator Scott just as recently as yesterday about moving this forward. I think there are a number of options to get this moving, but we need to see Kevin in position by mid-May. I certainly hope that we'll be in that position very soon to put Kevin into the role of the next Fed chief. He'll do a great job, and we're ready for him.
So when will you know when a vote is scheduled in terms of moving him forward?
It could be imminent. As I said, conversations are underway. I don't want to get ahead of those conversations because they're fragile, delicate. But again, on our side, I think every Republican realizes that Kevin Warsh is the most competent person, a terrific candidate that President Trump has selected, and he's ready for the position, well prepared, ready to go at a time when we need the sort of certainty that he can help deliver and get the Fed back into its lane. So there's no question about his competence, his qualifications, and I'm very optimistic that we're going to have a vote very, very soon.
Senator, let me move on to digital assets legislation. And of course, you've done such great work on the Genius Act. You had a coalition of over 100 crypto firms, including Coinbase and Ripple, pressing the Senate Banking Committee to mark up the Clarity Act, which would establish a federal framework for digital assets. We've been discussing the legislative text around the proposed stablecoin yield compromise. Is that still the sticking point here? When would we expect a markup here?
I feel like we're at the 1-yard line on this one, Maria, very, very close. It's up to Chairman Tim Scott to decide the timing of when we do the markup, but I think we're very close to being ready to do that. And in my view, it could happen in a matter of weeks. I've been optimistic that we were ready in the past and other things come up. For example, the situation in Iran, the Democrats' decision to shut down the government, to shut down Homeland Security. But we're moving apace, and I think we're very close to being ready to move on the Clarity Act.
All right. And in the midst of new threats from China, the Trump administration is vowing to crack down on foreign technology companies exploiting U.S. artificial intelligence models, singling out China as it narrows the gap with the U.S. in the AI race. It comes as a new memo from Director Michael Kratsios, the president's chief science and technology advisor, said that the U.S. has evidence that foreign entities, primarily China, are running industrial-scale distillation campaigns to steal American AI. Senator, what are you doing about this? Have you gotten into these privacy concerns around AI and what China is doing to steal innovation? And I know that they've been stealing intellectual property for a long time, but this new evidence and this memo that Kratsios dropped yesterday was quite alarming.
Well, it is quite alarming, but it's not surprising. And Michael Kratsios, extremely competent and a good friend, is putting his finger on the button here. This is the most important, most incredible advancing technology that we've seen in decades coming forward right now. The Chinese, again, trying to steal our intellectual property. This is a playbook they have been executing for decades, Maria. You know this. I've had my intellectual property stolen when I was in the private sector by the Chinese. So this is something we've got to be on guard. We have to be prepared for it. most importantly, Maria, we have to stay ahead of it, meaning the United States needs to continue to lead in AI. And I understand the concerns, and I've watched very carefully what the Florida Attorney General is doing right now to deal with some of these concerns that are quite alarming. But at the same time, I think what we need are the appropriate guardrails to maintain American liberty, but also maintain American dominance, the development of AI that happens right here in this country. We need to lead here.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder if that was what he's talking about, was that situation with Anthropic. And that sparked Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent to call a meeting with the major banks. Is this a bigger issue than we know?
Well, I applaud Secretary Bessent for bringing the banks together. These AI tools can be utilized to find any type of vulnerability. They can do it much more rapidly, much more effectively than humans can do it. And the fact that we're getting ahead of it, staying ahead of it, and acting on any of these vulnerabilities, I think, means the tools can be used for very productive and constructive means, particularly when we have adversaries like China that would try to exploit those vulnerabilities.
All right, we're going to talk with the head of cyber at Anthropic about this coming up. Senator, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you,
Thanks
Maria.
so much. Bill Hagerty.
Likewise.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.